Hello everybody, welcome back to the Ketchup Café podcast, where I catch up with old friends, new friends, or myself. And happy holidays to everyone. Happy merry belated Christmas to whoever celebrates that. And we're getting, near the end, so happy New Year's. And yeah, just right before we start, I just want to do a little shout out to my good friends from Isle of Coffee, Jake and Yura. Thank you for gifting this beautiful set from Hasami and Monocle. It means a lot. I don't know, for those who know me, I love to collect Japanese ceramics, and it's a dream of mine to own Hasami ceramics. And even though this is not like the classic Hasami cup, but what makes this more special is it's actually a collaboration with another brand that I really like, which is Monocle. And what represents this even more is it's green, and the branding of Isle of Coffee is green, so every time I see this, I think of you guys, and so it really means a lot, and I'm very thankful to have you guys in my life, and thank you for supporting me and this podcast. So yeah, today I made a home cafe mocha, and yeah, I'm just gonna take a sip right now. And also thank you to my other good friend who brought me these little homemade cookies. Thank you to, well, actually, she was featured on our previous episode, so Miss S. Thank you once again for your lovely baking. I'm excited to try. I'm gonna try one. Awesome. Shortbread's so good. So yeah, how is everyone? I hope everyone's good, winding down, especially during this time of the year. Hope you're with your family or friends, and if not, you're in quarantine. I hope you're, enjoying time just at home. And definitely everyone keeps saying it is a different kind of holiday this year, but we're gonna try to make the most out of it. And I think what really matters is your mindset. So wherever you are or whoever you're with, I hope you're enjoying your time. And it's really just about winding down and taking the time to, slow down. I think this was a definite theme of this year for everyone, and honestly, I think it was a good thing. Like, despite all the things we couldn't do and all the changes we had to go through, I think it forced, humanity to step back and reflect and maybe adapt to some of the things in our life, in our everyday life. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too rough. I think it was a good wake-up call, especially for me. Like, I grew a lot from this situation, and I mean, this comes from maybe a place of privilege, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for all the obstacles, and there was a lot of moments of loss of family, distance from friends, and lost in life career-wise. But I think despite all of those things, it made me stronger to walk through the next chapters of life. And I'm excited. There's a lot of new things coming and a lot of unexpected changes constantly. But I think after this year, like, I think I can handle it. Probably, you know, I'm human. I'm gonna have my ups and downs, but it definitely won't feel as daunting or scary anymore. And yeah, I think one of the most significant memories I had was when I came back home to the West Coast. I had to quarantine, and while I was quarantining, I was in an Airbnb, and honestly, that was like the first time, I think maybe my whole life, that I really had this time to live alone. You know, I've always lived with roommates and I've lived with, you know, family. I don't think I've ever had like time to just live by myself and just do my thing at my own time with like nobody. And honestly, that was so refreshing. So, I don't know, I loved it. I loved it a lot. And I did document bits and pieces just, you know, for my own sake. And maybe in the future, if I feel like I need to tell that story, I'll make it into another video. So stay tuned for that, maybe. But yeah, I think the idea of just living by myself and having like a home really grew on me. And, you know, it sparked my interest into, you know, like investing a bit more in homeware or just little bits and pieces. You know, I've struggled a lot throughout the past year, like figuring out like where is home, where is gonna be home, or where I'm gonna settle down. And I was always scared to, you know, like I felt like I was living a temporary life where I was. And, you know, I think now I have more clarity. Like I can be, you know, in different places when the situation allows me, especially like during this pandemic. But I want to have my home base in my home, like where I'm from, which is the West Coast. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I don't know when that will be, and I don't know how that'll look like, but honestly, recently, like one of my favorite things to do is to shop for homeware or kitchen stuff. And I think my favorite niche is like Japanese cooking utensils. I don't know why that's my niche, and I love it, and I keep collecting it, and my family's confused why I'm bringing home cups and trays every day, but can't help it. And I don't know, I always say I'm gonna have a home cafe. I can do whatever I want, and that's true. And the whole point of, you know, having this podcast started from me wanting to just have a home cafe space for me to just talk and not expecting anything. I don't know who's listening, but this is just my little space. And, you know, I invite you to come along and, you know, come to this cafe and, you know, share this experience like wherever you are. So yeah, it's been very rewarding, and this whole, you know, project has really grew on me. And like, you know, it's like my safe little haven, and I can, you know, do whatever I want, however I want. And, you know, there's just so much freedom, which I love, for creativity and like even for conversations with people. And to be able to feature that and share it with people, I think that's one of my passions as like a creative. But yeah, like going back to this podcast, and I was like thinking about, you know, what's been on my mind. And weirdly, like, this is so cheesy, like I'm gonna talk about like the 3 G's in my life. So the first one is obviously a global pandemic, right? We all experience this same thing globally, and I think that's really unique because for once, like we all have the same struggle. Like we can all relate to one like global thing, and it gives, you know, the people that have resources a perspective maybe like to help people that don't have as much resources, but encountering the same problem. So I think that was really interesting. Like, I wouldn't say, I don't wish this upon anyone, but I just think for like 2020 that was something unique, and maybe it's a sign, who knows. And the second G is definitely growth. I think that has been a very significant theme for me personally this year. I've really struggled with being in denial, like a big portion of my life, and not being able to, face my fears or face my problems. I would just suppress it with, toxic habits and, routines that weren't so great for me, to, run away from the things that I had to deal with. But I think I really took the time, like, where I had no distractions, no excuses, to only face my problems by myself. And through that, it wasn't easy. I'm still dealing with, some, healing trauma. Like, I'm working on myself currently, but I think the beauty to that is I'm aware. I found self-awareness, and I found resources, and I found the motivation to work on things. And I think, for a lot of people, I'm willing to share this vulnerability with you, because I think it's not easy. Definitely not easy for me, because I do prioritize living a more, quiet or low-key life. But I think there's value in sharing these moments and thoughts to people, because sometimes we might be going through the same things. And if not, I want to open up a conversation to get to know what you're going through compared to me, and, maybe help each other. So yeah, that is what mainly, this platform is for. And I do encourage you to start conversations. Like, this is also a video podcast, so for those who've been listening on the audio platforms, this is actually available on YouTube under my name. And yeah, if you want to, leave questions, comments, or, themes that, you would like me to talk about, feel free, but no pressure. But yeah, I think growth really stood out, and it's just the start. It's just the beginning of this journey. I'm slowly growing, but I think the aim is to be, to be better version of me every day. So like, let's do one thing that's bettering myself from yesterday's me, right? It doesn't have to be big, but just learning how to, change rhythms, bad habits, and encourage like new ones. And I think most recently, I was speaking to Miss S, and she mentioned something very important that was really helpful in like my work, to sustain my working life. And this season was entering like a very unexpected change, where I entered in a different kind of career field than what I imagined or planned for. But I took this challenge because I thought, why not take this time to grow and learn something new and develop skills that I don't have, that I can get better at. But it's not easy, and there are challenges, but the rewarding part is learning how to develop better habits, so that you can do that job better, and be happy and be excited about it. I think that was the shift. And the tool that she mentioned was to start journaling about work. And I think that might be kind of odd to some of you, because you're like, oh, like what? I don't want to think about work after work. Which is true. Like, you know, I like to set boundaries too. Like after work, I do like to wind down, but I just take like, you know, 5 to 10 minutes after work now to like document the things that I learned and things that I struggled with, but like little pointers or things that like made the day better. So actually, I'm just gonna pull out my work journal for you to see the video podcast. So yeah, I've been documenting some of the things that, you know, I've been encountering, working on, and, you know, it makes the day more, like you feel more satisfied at the end of the day, because you're, instead of like leaving the work day, especially when I'm working from home, right? Like it's the same situation. I'm not leaving a specific space. It's rewarding because I'm reminded, I'm like, oh, this is what happened, but it wasn't all bad. It actually, there was a great outcome because I learned how to, you know, fix it, or I learned how to deal with it. And I think, you know, every day, you know, there's going to be something new, but I think the beauty to documenting that is like you can go back to it and see the growth. And I think the last G is gratitude. This goes a long way for me because you know, going back to work, like when we're struggling and everything, especially in the nature of my work, I'm not going to go into detail. I think the biggest part is learning how to, you know, communicate specifically to like different kinds of people, and, you know, just letting my pride down, letting my ego, just putting that down, and just really full-heartedly, you know, just doing my best to make the situation better. I think that's something that's, you know, I'm learning, I'm working on it. But I think the interesting thing is gratitude comes a long way, because after I'm thankful for my coworkers, and I'm thankful for my friends and family that all been a part of this journey, who's made it possible, who supported me. So yeah, like part of this is learning how to be thankful for the little things that count in life. It goes a long way, especially for me. Like I really am thankful for like the little things, like details that people in my life that who knows me, who account for. It means a lot when you guys show, you know, care. Because, you know, I'm not really the type to reach out and, you know, tell people I need help or anything. And I think that's another thing, is I really learned how to, it might be a stigma. I don't know if it's a culture thing. I don't know if it's a like a generation thing, but I'm just not taught to ask for help. Like I was taught to just deal with it, right? And I think maybe a lot of you feel the same way. And so, you know, especially like going into like a different, you know, work environment, I don't know a lot of things. And that was the biggest struggle, because I was like, I don't know how to deal with this, or, you know, figure this out, but I need help. And so like for the first time, I you know, I had to reach out, and I had to be vulnerable and put my pride down and actually ask for help. But, you know, it all starts somewhere. So yeah, I think that was like a huge learning curve for me, and I'm very thankful for the people who were there and were willing to help out during times of need. And maybe I do want to encourage those who are scared to reach out and ask for help, or it's difficult and I'm working on it, but I think it's okay to be a bit vulnerable sometimes, and just know that, you know, this is what community's for. And I think one of my goals is to be able to create a community where we're supportive of each other. I'm really all about like help me help you kind of mentality, and I'm actually very thankful because that's the kind of mentality that in my workplace we support. And I think it's very rare to find like an environment where it's about help me help. It's like I just want what's best for you, but just, you know, help me to help you to get there. And I think that's a very like strong community building mentality. And yeah, like for my future projects, community or business, like that's the kind of leadership I want to provide, you know, to my community. But yeah, let me know like how you reach out. I would be really interested to know, you know, more ways to like deal with inner struggles. We're not perfect, but I think this is the space to like embrace each other's vulnerabilities, right? And honestly, I think one of the most freeing things that I overcame through this whole year and in isolation was, I think a lot of people struggle just being by themselves or being alone. And for me, like I found a lot of peace by accepting that. I think in the past I was really good at making my schedule really busy so that I didn't have to do that. I probably mentioned that in previous episodes, but honestly, one of my favorite things to do is to hang out by myself. I'm not discrediting like, you know, being with friends and family. Like I love, you know, talking to people, but when I do get, you know, some alone time, you know, to take myself for a walk or to the cafe just to think and, you know, and enjoy, it's very freeing because then I can do anything. Like, not like actually mentally, physically, but I meant like I don't need to wait for anyone's availability to do things. It's like I live on my own schedule, and you know, I can make decisions not having to prioritize others for once. It might sound a little selfish, but I think giving yourself alone time is something beautiful, and I've learned to accept it and I learned to love it. And so for those who are maybe spending the holidays alone, like, you know, thanks for listening to the podcast, and I hope this is like, you know, me hanging out with you, but also like be your own best friend. Just like, you know, that's what I learned, and there's no one out there who knows you better than yourself. So, you know, take care of yourself, love yourself, and sometimes, you know, treat yourself. I think those are like really good feelings that I don't think I ever exercised throughout my life. So yeah, my goal is to be able to provide this platform to, you know, hang out with you, and, you know, for me to hang out with whoever is on the show or myself, you know, as I always say. But, you know, the goal was to create a accessible, chill, judge-free zone, you know, where people can come to no matter like where you are. And, you know, it all just started really just as like more of like a mental space, like a mental cafe. But, you know, through manifestation, this is, you know, I wanted to create like a cozy and like, you know, an open place to just share my thoughts, talk to other people about their thoughts, and, you know, learn and share with everyone who's listening. So, you know, with that said, I just want to thank you once again for all those who have been listening to the podcast and been on this journey with me. My gratitude for you goes, you know, beyond words. And yeah, I hope you all have an amazing new year. Just keep doing you, and I'll keep doing me, and let's, support each other. But for now, I'll see you in the next one. So, have a good new year, everybody. And yeah.